So your business is running Google Ads and things are going okay. And then you get an email from someone that says they work for Google, providing recommendations on your account. Is this legit? Or did your account just get hacked? Well, in this week's video, I'm going to share with you how you can find out. I'm going to share with you how you can find out if, yes, you were emailed from someone that works for Google. And if you were, should you actually follow the advice that you get? My name's Scott Redgate. I'm an online marketing coach. And if you want to save some money inside of your Google Ads account, make sure to grab my free PPC cost cutting cheat sheet. You can get it at scottredgate.com/cheat sheet, or I'll leave a link in the description below. All right, let's get started with a very controversial topic, Google Ads reps. Okay, so first things first, how do you know that you're actually being emailed by a Google Ads rep? Well, I'm in my email inbox right now, and you'll notice that I've got an email from someone that has an email address of xwf.google.com. Now, there's a lot of questions about this type of email address on the internet with whether they're a true Google employee or is it a scammer. And here's the deal with xwf.google.com. This is Google's extended workforce. And so Google describes it as the employees of suppliers and staffing partners, vendors and temporary staff, respectively, and independent contractors who are self-employed make up our extended workforce. So in other words, if you get an email from someone that has an xwf.google.com email address, that is someone from Google's extended workforce. And so yes, that is a legitimate email. Now, if you get an email from someone with just an @google.com email address, this is a direct Google employee. I've typically seen in the accounts that I've worked in that you'll get an email from an XWF email address if the account's just getting started or if it's a lower spend account. But as you start to spend more over time, I don't know what threshold Google has to say, okay, now you're eligible for a direct Google employee. But as you start to spend more is when you would probably see the transition from an XWF email address emailing you to a direct Google employee. I found the advice from XWF team members to be a bit basic. And maybe it's just the experience level that I've had from those members of the extended workforce. But I've definitely had better conversations if it was a direct Google employee. Now, let me take a couple of steps back because Google Ads reps get a lot of hate. I mean, if you Google Google Ads rep Reddit, you're going to see thread after thread of people complaining like this one, where Google Ads rep has called this individual 3 times today after a meeting yesterday. And so they can be unbelievably persistent, but don't take my word for it. Take an actual former Google employee. So this is from Jill Saskin-Gale, who, as I just said, is a former Google employee. Shout out to Jill. If you're not following her channel, I'll leave a link in the description below. But she says it like this: Google Ads reps are first and foremost salespeople. Their job is to generate revenue for Google by encouraging you to spend more on advertising. So in other words, the goal of a Google Ads rep is not to make you have the most efficient account possible. They're not trying to get you as many conversions possible for as little spend. They're trying to get you to grow your Google Ads revenue by driving more spend in your account. And so again, just like in any organization, there's good employees, there's bad employees. There's reps like in this Reddit thread are going to be persistent and call multiple times per day. And there's going to be reps that do a really good job of balancing supporting you and also encouraging you to spend more. And so I would not recommend just blindly following the advice of a Google Ads rep. I mean, go ahead and take the call, but do your own research. Watch channels like this. Watch channels like Jill's. Watch channels like Aaron Young on YouTube. Watch the Paid Search podcast by my friend Chris Schaefer. And start to learn the ins and outs of how Google Ads actually works. And you can learn it from the perspective of the people that are actually managing Google Ads accounts for small and medium-sized businesses. So if you were going to ask me, do you find the advice overall that Google Ads reps provide helpful? Well, I have to give the classic answer. It depends. I've had businesses that I've worked with that received recommendations from Google Ads reps to run a specific campaign type. And so there was one time where a Google Ads rep provided a recommendation to a business that I was working with. And I told the rep that I'd consider it, but now might not be the best time. And I actually ran a test using the exact specifications that came from that Google Ads rep. But in the test that I ran, I only used a fraction of the budget that was recommended. And I am so glad that I did, because not only did that campaign not drive any revenue for that business, but I would argue that 100% of that spend was completely wasted. And so if I wouldn't have run this test on the side and I would have just blindly accepted the recommendations from the Google Ads rep, I would have lost a ridiculous amount of money for this business. And so, like I just said, do not follow the recommendations blindly. You have to do your own research to understand the platform, to see what the recommendations that are being talked about actually are, and if they might be something that you want to test out. I hope this video was helpful for you. Until next time.